We got a little bit to dive into here, Dub. We're doing a fun wokest of them all bracket challenge. We have a 16-player, all sports media members, allowing people to crown the wokest member of the entire scenario here in the American sports media. We expect, based on our opening, that one half of the bracket, I think you agreed with me, will end up Dan Woken versus Darren Ravel. But the other side of the bracket, we have not even run through. I'm going to run through it for you now. This is the Me Too region of the bracket, and it is Keith Olbermann against Jalen Rose. And I'm going to be honest with you, Dub, Keith Olbermann is just dunking on Jalen Rose almost as bad as Kobe did when he put up 81 on him.
Oh, man.
I mean, I'm not going to say that Jalen Rose is getting beat as bad by Keith Olbermann in the woke bracket challenge as Kobe beat him up when he scored 81. But that's kind of what the equivalent is here right now. So Keith Olbermann, monster favorite, rolling on to the next round. In the other bracket challenge, and by the way, Olbermann was the 1 seed, Jalen Rose the 4. Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk going up against ESPN's Maria Taylor. How would you assess this matchup?
Well, I think Florio's got to be a decent favorite here because he is just on Twitter, just unbearable. It's every single day.
Yes.
It's one thing or the other. Maria Taylor, not quite, in my opinion, to the level of Florio. I got to make Florio moving on here.
Florio is right now beating her 2-1, basically. 2 out of every 3 votes going to Mike Florio. Looks like Florio is going to advance out of the Me Too region. You can go vote yourself there. In the Gaslight region, number 1 seed, Jamel Hill, going up against number 4 seed, Adrian Wojnarowski. And this is like number 1 seed, maybe the greatest number 1 seed performance of all time. Jamel Hill, 96% of the votes against Woj. I mean, Jamel Hill is going to be a tough out in this tournament. In the woke bracket challenge, Jamel Hill is just rising up on Woj and dunking on him. Scottie Pippen on Patrick Ewing back in the day style. You remember that dunk? One of the great dunks of all time. Might even be a little bit of Sean Payton, the dunk. Remember when he dunks? I think it was on Mutombo, and then he points at him. If you've ever seen that one before. Maybe back in the day, the Randolph-Childress crossover in the ACC tournament. Do you remember that highlight? Where he crosses over the dude from UNC and then steps back behind the 3 and drains it. Did I screw up the Sean Kemp? I said
you had Saints head coach Sean Payton doing
Sean Payton.
Now that would be something.
That would be really something if Sean Payton. Sean Kemp dunking on. I was probably got it confused with Gary Payton. I was thinking about that Sonics team back in the day. That would be Sean Payton rising up and dunking on somebody and then pointing at him. I mean, that would be really, really unexpected. So, yeah, I'm talking about Sean Kemp. Do you remember that Randolph-Childress play, Dub, where he crosses him over and then, does the hand gesture, come back over here, and then he drains the 3 on him?
I've seen highlights. That was a little before my time, I'm afraid.
Oh, it's one of the great. I showed my 10-year-old that the other day. I was like, hey, you want to see one of the greatest ankle-breaking crossover moves ever? This is 1991 in the NCAA tournament, and he absolutely loved it. So that is what Jamel Hill is doing to Woj right now. So Jamel Hill, the number 1 seed, is advancing. And then in the other matchup of the Gaslight region, we got Max Kellerman, who is the 3 seed, going up against the 2 seed Dan Le Batard. Now, Max Kellerman memorably said that it was time to change the Notre Dame Fighting Irish mascot. Do you remember that take? That hot take from First Take? It was offensive. The idea of the Fighting Irish, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, according to Max Kellerman, he's like, hey, we got to get rid of the Fighting Irish moniker and replace it with something else. That's the level of woke that Max Kellerman brings to bear. And then we got Dan Le Batard. I think we talked about this a little bit on the radio show, but Dan Le Batard is actually creating a sports media company that is supposed to be the exact opposite of Outkick. So what he doesn't understand is that's what the sports media is in general. We are already the alternative. So now he's making the alternative to the alternative, which is just what sports media already sounds like. And so Dan Le Batard is creating his own company which is mirrored in some way off of what we've done at Outkick. And what do you think about that matchup? Who would you think, Dub, would be favored, Kellerman or LeBretard?
That's a close one, but to be honest with you, it doesn't matter because Jamel Hill is going to the final. I mean, I'm just looking at this bracket right now. I got to make
your
Jamel
final four.
Okay.
Jamel, you would make Jamel like a prohibitive
the overall favorite. I would put
she's
her
the one seed
minus,
of one seed.
minus 180 probably.
She's the Gonzaga of the woke sports bracket.
Without question.